Hey everybody, this is Toni Vanschoyck, and I'm so excited to be here. You guys, we're talking about all things holistic. I'm super excited to talk about the WELLTH movement. We're all about, keeping it simple, doing great things that are in the best interest for our health, for our life, our livelihood. And so I'm super excited to have a guest speaker tonight. She is a longtime esthetician. She is now retired, but she's still got her hands in the thick of things because she's also a naturopath. And so that, gives her credibility to what she's talking about even more tonight. So she's kind of like layered. She's also an inspirational author. She is a dear friend of mine. I have stayed at her home. She stayed at my home. I love this lady so much, and I cannot wait for you to hear what she has to share with you, her wealth, her WELLTH, remember, her health and her knowledge with you guys tonight on this call. So without further ado, Cynthia, I'm so honored and proud that you are sharing your time with us tonight. Take it away, sister.
Oh, I just love you, Toni. I was just sharing with Toni. I feel like when she walks through a room, some people lose DNA. Their skin cells come off, right? And she's got like sparks flying off of her. She's like, well, take that and ignite that. And let's do that. I'm going to inspire you to do this. And she's inspired me to just kind of share with you tonight on the subject of being beautiful or just good looking and what the difference is, internal and external, actually. But let's talk about that. Now, I have a tendency to squirrel, so I actually wrote some bullet points so I stay on task. But if I were to ask you that question, do you think that you are beautiful or just good looking? Your answer to that question, in my practice, when I would ask my clients, do you think you're beautiful or just good looking? I just kind of ask it sort of nonchalantly. And based on their response, I would learn so much about the very first step that I need to take with them to actually help them get a longer term or a short term result based on their answer. So for you, just type in the chat, do you think you're beautiful or good looking? And you might change your mind by the time we're done talking tonight. But I just kind of I don't even know if I can see the chat. I don't even know where it's at on here. But if you ask questions, I think there it is.
So Cynthia, I'll watch the chat for you.
Okay. And if I can't answer the question, I probably won't even look at it, to be honest with you, so I can stay on track. But I will come back and answer questions. And if I don't know the answer, because I don't know all things, I will find the answer for you and I will get it back in there at some point. But I wanted to start with my perspective. When I worked with clients, well, one of the things that I love about Toni first is that she's a door opener. And I know that she has probably opened a lot of doors for many of you on here, or you have invited friends that have gotten to know Toni and feel the same way. And in my experience, people who use their presence to bless other people is just incredibly beautiful. That is a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful use of energy and spirit. And my perspective of where beauty comes from is from a scriptural perspective. I'm a Jesus girl, love me some Jesus, but I'm not here to preach to you. I just want to share with you my perspective of where I believe beauty comes from. And the scripture actually tells us it comes from a gentle and quiet spirit. Which I may be lacking a little bit in, maybe Toni and I were born on the same train, right? But as I've gotten older, I'm 62 this year, and as I've gotten older, I have come to understand what that really and truly means. A gentle and quiet spirit is the peace that transcends our understanding. It transcends anxiety. It transcends personality. It transcends objectives and objections. It's a peace that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, created as an image bearer of God. And how can we mess that up? I mean, that is beautiful to think that we are image bearers of God in the first place. And trust me, I mess it up on the daily. But that peace that transcends the decisions I make, I can have a loud voice, I can stand on a line, but I have that beautiful spirit of peace inside of me most of the time when I'm making those decisions. So That's the perspective that I'm bringing to you, is that internal beauty. And if God created it, I would say it's probably going to work a lot better than something I could create. And that means what's going on inside of us is probably going to bring the most beauty to our life than those things that we can do topically. Now, my clientele list, California is where I came from. I would say a good portion of them had me sign a non-disclosure clause before I was even allowed to have FaceTime with them. So Hollywood, you can kind of imagine who those people might be. And a lot of times their perspective of what beauty and looking good came from what somebody else was telling them they had to do in a short period of time to be a certain presence in a certain place. And so we are talking about topical things that we could do, or invasive procedures that we could do that would give you a very short term good looking effect, maybe, but long term was probably going to do more damage to your beauty than anything else. So think about that just for a second. We're talking about, can I say the product name Amare in this chat? Okay. So when we're talking about Amare products or anything that's good and healthy and that's going to benefit us from the inside out, we're actually talking about long-term results. We're talking about long-term beauty, because health is beautiful. The way we feel from the inside out is beautiful. We could talk all day long about creams and syrups and moisturizers and things. When you're talking about topical application, magic happens in your serums. Just so you know, you can have cleansers and moisturizers and sunscreens and all that, but the magic happens in those serums. Do you know why? Because the serum, if the skin has been properly prepared, is what penetrates with active ingredient to do the long-term effect you're trying to get. Now, we have acids and enzymes where we're trying to forcefully remove or change a structure, but those again are temporary. Same thing with internal. So the first layer, I would say, let me draw you a word picture before we get into these bullet points. And the word picture would be, if somebody came in to my office and they clearly had dirt on their face, a nice layer of dirt, but they had time constriction and they wanted that $500 jar of miracle serum and they wanted it applied and they had an expectation of an outcome. Just type in the chat, what is the first thing you think I should do before I sell them the product or apply that product to their face? What's the first thing? And I can't see the chat, but I'm assuming y'all are saying, wash her face.
Yes, they are.
Okay. If you do not remove the layer that has built up on, and we're not talking about the barrier layer, I'm talking about the dirt, the daily grime that we accumulate, then that very expensive serum that you're going to apply or anything topical is going to have a very difficult time of getting through. The same thing is with nutrients on the inside of the body. The very first thing you want to do when you're starting a new program is to, and Amare, actually, I love the name, it's Reboot, and it's 3 days, super simple, but I call it a mini cleanse, a reset. So Amare's little $29, I think, Reboot is probably the best bang for your buck if you're starting a new beauty routine from the inside out. It resets, it cleanses, it gently stimulates. It's not harsh, it's not hard. You're going to do a lot of the work with fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, seeds, a lot of cruciferous vegetables, the ones with the crosses on the leaves. A lot of these things are going to go in. You have the option with the Reboot. They give you recipes to go with it, but it's a really gentle way of sort of preparing the body for the goodness that's about to follow. So topically, we're going to cleanse that skin before we apply something that's expensive or not expensive, but we want it to do something in the tissue. We want it to absorb. We want the body to have a reaction to it. So same with these nutrients. You have to have certain nutrients inside your body so your skin on the outside is going to look good. And these are your A's, C, E, and vitamin A is going to help with your cell production. So nutrient absorption is the first bullet point that I want to talk about. Nutrient absorption. Prepare the body You could eat the healthiest thing in the world, but if you can't absorb it, your body doesn't recognize it. You can pay as much money as you want for a supplement. But if your body is not aware that it's in there and it's just passing it straight through, you're kind of wasting your money and your time. So prepare your body to absorb these nutrients. And if we're focusing on skin, here's some of the things that you want to look at. Vitamin A helps with cell production and repair. It's crucial for keeping the skin healthy. Vitamin C, this is really essential for collagen production. And that helps maintain the elasticity in our skin. And that is super, super important. And topically, they say, oh, vitamin C is this, vitamin C is that. It's one of the hardest things to stabilize in a product. So taking vitamin C internally is one of the best things you can do for your elasticity and your collagen, especially if you're a beach girl. Antioxidants, they protect against free radicals and damage, and they can cause premature skin aging, sagging. Without those nutrients, your skin, without absorbing those nutrients, your skin can look pale. It can look tired. It can look shallow, the sallowness. You've seen these really beautiful, I don't want to use the word beautiful. You want to see these really good looking women that have done a lot of procedures, had a lot of things done on their skin, yet they still just look tired. They just look like they're not well. It's because from the outside, they've got all of this stuff happening to hold it together. And on the inside, they're dying. Their body is hungry. It's starving for nutrients. And it shows in your skin. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. It is an organ. So your first bullet point is going to be nutrient absorption. Let's make sure that when we are looking for long-term beauty, we are actually getting the best benefit from these amazing, wonderful products. Our happy mix, or whatever the proper term is. I mean, I love that stuff. And I love it from a researcher's perspective too. I love the pharmaceutical edge to a naturopathic product. Like it's the best of both worlds that come together. But if you're going to take these things, make sure that you are being responsible. I'd ask my clients this question. I would ask you this question. How much time do you want to spend on your beauty routine? And what is your expected outcome for the time that you're spending? And I'll tell you if that's a realistic expectation you're setting up for yourself. Let's talk about your expectations. What do you want to achieve? And what are you willing to do at home? If you want to come in here 3 days a week, great, pay me your money. I'll do the thing. But if you want to come in once a month, once a skin cycle, you get a whole new layer of skin every 28 days. Slows down a little bit as we age, but every 28 days, you kind of only need to see me once every 28 days and still get these results, right? So how much time do you want to spend taking advice from someone else or paying someone else to do the thing? And here's another thing. Okay, I'm not going to squirrel, but knowledge is so valuable and it's so wonderful, but we can Google just about anything. We can get somebody to talk to us just about any subject. You just do a little research and you can talk about it. But the key is, in my practice, I got paid well to know what not to do to your tissue. And we as natural health, lovers of natural health, we should get rewarded well for knowing what not to recommend to someone in their healing journey. If you know what not to do, then you're on the right path for the things you should do, because knowledge is only useful if you can have the wisdom and discernment to apply it to the quality of somebody's life. Does that make sense? So if somebody were coming into me and saying, hey, I live at the beach and I'm in the sun all day and I want you to do a peel series in the middle of summertime, I'd be like, probably not the best advice for your quality of life and for long-term benefits of your skin. So let's rethink that and come up with a better plan. So, okay, number 2, hydration. Hydration is so important. Hydration from the outside is one thing we can do with moisturizers and spritzes and all of the things. But if we're not hydrated from the inside, did you know that you can have oily, dehydrated skin? It's possible if you are dehydrated from the inside, those tissues, the cells cannot absorb the nutrients and function the way that those products are supposed to be utilized in the body because there's no place for them to go. So the stomach just kind of turns it into a ball and sends it through the colon. We want to have clear, fresh, possibly purified. It depends on your, I have a quadruple filter system. I think Toni does too. Like, we're such water nerds. But I mean, to each his own. You need to be hydrated, and you can go down these rabbit holes about the best kind of waters for you, for this, for that, but just start with water. And I'm horrible at it, but I will drink water if it comes out of a filtered system. What happens if you're not hydrated? When you drink enough water and consume hydrating foods, you actually can get water out of hydrating fruits. Again, fruits, vegetables, nuts, grain, seeds, but fruits and vegetables should have enough water in them to sustain your body's processing of that food. Okay, I'm gonna squirrel for just 1 minute. I want to talk about enzymes. It's so important. We have this acid alkaline balance all the way through our system. And when we eat our food, when we're born with a certain set of enzymes, like two groups of enzymes. Look at it that way. You don't get more. Your body doesn't has what it needs. And it's built to utilize the enzymes from the food that we eat that break down and help break down themselves in the digestive process. And in these different acid alkaline environments, different nutrients are detected and utilized. One set of your enzymes is designed for these special occasion. If you happen to eat a bug, or you happen to eat something that's from a box or a bag, but not very often. But unfortunately, with the typical diet, we burn through those in the first 12 years of our life, generally speaking, as an American diet. So now you're into your second dose of enzymes that are in the body. And what are those reserved for? Those are reserved for your immune system. Those are reserved for invaders. Those are reserved for the diseases of your body for the lack of nutrient in your food. So when you think about this process, you want to, if you got to be addicted to something, I'll tell you what, a good gut biome, a good broad spectrum digestive enzyme is a really good thing as an adult to supplement your meals with, because you can't go wrong with those. If the body doesn't use it, it's not going to store them, but it'll use it on those foods that you are eating. And sometimes you can eat the healthiest diet, but if you can't break it down, again, sisters, it's a waste in your system, and sometimes can actually even be harder on your system to eat foods that you cannot break down. Okay, so we did 2, right? So we're talking about the gut now. Let's move on to the gut since we're talking about that. Did I give you enough information on water? Water helps with dry flakiness of the skin, by the way, appearance of fine lines. Additionally, well-hydrated skin can better perform its barrier function. A barrier function is the protective layer of skin that you have to prevent diseases in your acid, in your barrier before invaders can get into your tissue. So I've seen a lot of people with oily skin. Their DNA, they were born with oily skin. Their DNA says they're supposed to have oil on their face, and talk them into these very drying, stripping product packages. And they end up in my office and they don't know what to do. And they're paying a lot of money to strip this oil off their face. And it's like, it's pretty easy. Your DNA wants oil on your face. Every time you strip it off, your body's trying to figure out how to make more. So you're going to be hungrier for foods that create more oil in your body. And it's a vicious cycle on your tissue. So what we need to do is oil balances oil. Are you willing to go through 28 days with me of being a little bit discomforted by maybe a couple of little breakouts while your body rebalances itself so you can have this beautiful glowing skin for a long-term outcome? And a lot of times it's as simple as that. Some people don't want to go through that process. They don't want to have that, do the hard thing for 28 days, or maybe even 3 days of that 28 days, but a full skin cycle so that their face can rebalance. They don't want that. They just want perfectly beautiful skin, and they cannot have a breakout. My answer to them is I'm probably not the right person to help you with your long-term goals. Got to be honest with you. So gut-skin connection. So the gut microbiome plays a significant role in our overall health. Now, this is the whole axis, I think, of Amari. This is what really convinced me that Amari products are the real deal, because they really focus on understanding. I got the opportunity to study with Dr. Bernard Jensen. And those of you in the healing community know who he was. Brilliant man. And he created these really interesting graphs about the spine as a baby and how the colon just kind of follows along the spine, and how you can see the reflex organs in the eye. And studying the trabeculae of the eye, you can see the healing processes of the body as it goes down. And every dis-ease that we quantify as a disease, the allopathic community says, oh, if you fall between this quantity and this quality, then you have this name. And naturopathic medicine says, well, let's look at the system. Let's look at the overall situation that's going on, and get to the root of what these symptoms are telling us. The symptoms are just telling us something's not right. And usually it has to do with the gut. Again, remember what I said about our enzymes. You could eat the healthiest diet and be doing all the right things, but if you're not absorbing it, if your brain isn't receiving it, if your heart isn't functioning and processing the circulation, it's kind of a miss. So this happy mix that we have in Amari is one of the best gut brain axis replenishers that I've ever seen on the market. And I think that is one of the keys to getting a good end result if you have imbalances in the gut. And in America, how can we not? An imbalance in gut bacteria can also lead to inflammation, not just in the body. Anything that's inflammation, we call that catarrh. But in the skin, we call it a breakout. We call it acne, eczema, rosacea. Consuming probiotics, prebiotics can be helpful, but foods rich in fiber can help support moving some of that gut microbiome, reduce inflammation, promoting clear skin in the long run. It may take a couple of cycles to do that. So every 28 days, you get new skin. So what you did 28 days ago, you're going to see on the outside in 28 days. And every 7 years, you get new skin on the outside of your body. Even though we're aging, if you're eating healthy foods, and even if you're eating healthy foods, we still need to supplement, because just the world has gone sideways, right? But, it's just such a blessing for us to be able to know all of the gifts that our great-grandparents used to know about eating whole foods and eating foods that have not been made by someone else, but made by our own hand or even grown in our own garden. And that's where you're going to find the most health promoting, anti-inflammatory type of meals to go along with your supplements. So number 4, let's talk about hormones, that terrible word. Hormones significantly influence our skin and our tissue. They are the thing that I feel we can work with, our inner peace. And I think that a lot of the times our skin, the way our skin looks, is a byproduct of imbalances internally from society's pressures that affect our hormones. I hope I said that correctly. What I'm trying to say is a lot of times we are trying to fit into roles that society says that we need to maintain, but our creator did not design us to carry that weight. And that creates a lot of acid and cortisol in our system. And then our hormones get out of balance. And there's a lot of reasons hormones can be out of balance, but stressors, even cleansing is a stress, can mess with your hormones. Fasting and prayer can be stressful, even though that's a good thing for you. So we want to do everything in balance. But hormones, one of the things we can do is our diet can impact our hormones significantly. And again, eating a healthy, well-balanced diet with plenty of fluids to help our system eliminate toxins really takes the pressure off of our hormonal system. And also thyroid. I see a lot of issues with thyroid, and that's another subject for another day. But what we can do is we can work with hormone imbalances with some of our foods that cause high levels of insulin. And those foods that cause high level of insulin are usually the thing our brain tells us that we're craving in certain situations. And it's really not the food. It's the effect on our body after we've eaten that food that is a temporary fix. But again, it's the difference between looking good and being beautiful. It's not beautiful for your body. It may help you get through that moment or that and adrenaline rush that your body needs, but the collateral damage long-term ages you much more rapidly. So we don't want to trigger excessive oil production, testosterone, androgens. These all lead to acne, breakouts, hair in places we don't want them, and all of those wonderful things. But foods rich in omega-3s, okay, like fish, flax seeds, they all have anti-inflammatory properties that can help us regulate our hormone levels. And additionally, a diet low in refined sugars or sugars, period. If you're craving sugars, there's probably a pretty good chance you need to do some gentle cleansing, and maybe do a little bit of fasting and water. Again, talk to your doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. That's not what we're doing here. But there's a pretty good chance that you need to have a little bit of a reset so that you understand, why is my body craving sugar? If it doesn't go away once you do a little reset. Okay, number 5. Long-term benefits, the difference between long-term benefits and short-term benefits. When you come in and you get a facial and you feel good, like, oh, that feels so wonderful. And 7 days later, your skin looks the same way it did 7 days before. So if you're not doing things at home, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're buying the $1,000 product kit. It might simply mean you're actually just drinking more water. You're taking your shoes off and walking on the beach and taking a breath of air and taking a break and spending some time at peaceful reflection, and washing your skin, washing in the morning and washing in the evening. Did you know your skin and your body repairs itself 7 times faster when you're sleeping? This is one of the reasons I like to take my supplements. I take the Mood Plus and the Sleep Plus for 3 weeks now, Toni, and I'm telling you, I take them both at night. And I mean, there's pros and cons to doing that, but for me, wow, it's a game changer. My hormones have been this is the first time that I have literally felt that I'm sleeping and getting into REM sleep for the entire evening, which is sweet Jesus, so good. It makes me feel so good, and I wake up with so much more energy. But long-term benefits, okay, topical treatments and quick fixes, little fasts, and that those are quick fixes. Dietary changes for a short period of time are actually harder on your body than just picking 1 or 2 things for a long period of time. Long-term effects happen with consistency, not with little, oh, I'm just going to do this for a couple of days, or I'm just going to do this power shot and get through something. No, you have to have the backup plan going on in your body if you want to have those long-term beautiful effects in your disposition. So topical treatments can temporarily address surface issues, but don't reach the root cause unless we're doing like a chemical peel or something of this nature. But a nutrient-rich diet consistently supplies the skin with essential oils, vitamins, minerals, all the things you need for repair and regeneration so that your skin does turn over and that you do have a fresh canvas every 28 days. And nourishing your skin from the inside, when you do that, you're actually achieving a healthier glow. You can see the difference in your own skin when you're actually getting up and you're moving. When you're sitting for a long period of time, take a picture of yourself. And then after you've exercised, take another picture of yourself. Your skin literally looks different because you're pushing those nutrients to every cell in your body when you're moving. We weren't designed to just sit and talk to our computers all day. So by nourishing your skin from the inside out, you can achieve a natural, healthy glow that topical products alone cannot provide for you. Topical products can provide you short-term, really beautiful results, and long-term use of those topical products can sometimes create a long-term result, but more times than not, you are going to see an overstretching of the skin, an over exfoliation of the skin, an over bleaching of the skin have a negative long-term result, as if you didn't approach it from the inside and the outside. You're going to choose less invasive procedures when let me put it this way, you will choose less invasive procedures if you ever thought about doing them in the first place when you are healing from the inside, because when you feel good in your own skin, it really doesn't matter what you look like. Beauty is how you feel. You are an image bearer. I've gotten really, really good at helping women look good, but I've gotten really good at helping women find their beauty, not what somebody else tells them is beautiful. So that's what my prayer for you would be, is that you would take the time to look into those areas that maybe are missing in your life, that will round your life out a little bit and take the pressure off your shoulders, and show up and be authentic. Be who you are. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to have it all. You don't have to do it all. We were designed to do all this together. What I have, you need. What you have, I need. We need each other. And that, to me, is what makes true beauty in a community. So a holistic approach is what I like to emphasize. I hope I didn't squirrel too much, Toni. I'm happy to answer questions if I can, or whatever you would like to do. What would you ladies like to do?
Sorry, I was taking copious notes while I was sitting here. That was amazing. Totally amazing. So, if anybody has questions, you can, of course, unmute or drop it in the chat. While you're doing that, I actually have 2 questions for you. Okay. So, I put somebody on a protocol, and, they were on the products. They feel great. 6 days later, they're having psoriasis, eczema, dermatitis, all in one shot. Okay. So I want to hear from you, because I do know the answer. It is the body releasing those toxins through that, through these skin issues. But, and I know that you said it, but I want you to reiterate it. Why is this happening to people when they have been on a cleansing product, or a product that is really good internally, and all of a sudden they're having skin issues because, the body is self-correcting?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I would ask is, have they ever experienced this before? And the answer is always going to be yes. And if it's not, we want to make sure that it's in fact an eczema and not a reaction, right? But a healing crisis, and I don't know if you all are familiar with that term, but in the naturopathic community, we have something called the healing crisis. When you're sick, when you're getting sicker, and when you're ill, when the illness or the symptoms are done, you feel more tired, and you feel weaker, you feel worse, like there's something's missing from your body, or something's not working right. But when you're having a healing crisis, and these come about when you're putting nutrients into the body that is healthier than the tissue that the body is made up of. So the body says logically, hey, I've got some good stuff available. I feel strong enough, because a healing crisis requires your body to have energy. I feel strong enough to get rid of some of these toxins, or get rid of some of these things, or repair some of this stuff. And it's going to start dumping. You're going to go right back through the experience of what you had on your way to sickness, but you're going the other way now. Your body's actually getting rid of it through the channels of elimination. All of the channels, your lungs, your nose, your ears, your skin, your colon, all of these are channels of elimination. And when you get to the other side of that symptoms, it's like women when we're doing healthcare. Are you willing to go through 28 days of discomfort if you want to change up what you've been doing and see improvement? I'm going to have to ask you to do the hard thing for a short period of time for a great long-term result. So that's really what we're seeing when we're talking about healing. I don't want you guys to be nervous about feeling like, oh, I have to be a doctor. I have to know all these things. God gave us everything we needed. We are not prescribing, diagnosing. We're using common sense and common knowledge. And this is where women sitting around canning their own food would sit and talk with each other about, hey, so-and-so did this, such and such. This is where knowledge was passed down. So the healing crisis is a normal part of getting healthy. And so you want to welcome that. Even scripture talks about, rejoice in the terrible times. Like, what are you talking about? But when we're talking about natural health, that makes total sense. If you're bringing on a healing crisis by doing something better for yourself than you were doing before, that's a great sign. That means your body's healthy enough to actually repair itself. Rejoice for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Who else has questions? You guys, this woman is a wealth of information. If you are on here and you have a question and you don't ask, tisk, tisk, tisk.
I see a hand.
Who was that?
It's me. It's Dana.
Oh, hey, Dana.
Hey, I have a question. You had brought up thyroid issues. I know that's a whole other segment, but I'm new to all of this too. So I was just wondering what you would recommend to keep it simple to help move forward with this.
So I would say for somebody who doesn't have the questions in my head that I would have, just the general answer is start with a happy drink.
Right?
And really
I'm all,
focus on those vegetables that are cruciferous, the ones with the little crosses on the leaves. Those are really, really important. But because I do have questions in the back of my head, I think I would ask you, number one, are you taking medications? Number two, were you taking something to replace what somebody told you the thyroid wasn't doing? And when you do that, the thyroid actually says, I don't have to work that hard. So it stops working and we have a coming up. So adrenals and thyroid, these are the things that you almost have to get from a bovine source. You have to get from the outside of the body, because the body, once it stops making it, it's very difficult for the body to sort of balance that out unless you have a very strict long-term approach to resetting that, because the thyroid is the ambulance gland of the entire body. So think about your ambulance, like you got the pedal to the metal 24/7 when the thyroid's not working. The thyroid tells the adrenals what to do. Adrenals tell the hormones what to do. The hormones tell the digestion what to do, all the way through. So start with something that's going to gently cleanse you out. Take a look at what you're consuming and internally give yourself some peace. Give yourself things that will give you peace and lower that striving. A lot of times we look at energetic connections, and this is the place. If you spend a lot of time in life where you didn't have a voice, and it can you can with the symptomology of low thyroid. If you spend a lot of time where you've been talking and screaming and yelling, you can have a overactive thyroid, and then it kind of reduces. So, but anyways, I don't know if that was helpful, but that's
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. So Dana, I'm going to tell you, there is a colostrum product that is super amazing for it. I will put it in our chat on Facebook. And it works wonderfully for that. The other thing is I am interviewing a thyroid expert, natural thyroid expert this week. And what I'll do is I'll send you the recording as soon as I get it done before I release it publicly, because she is an expert in her field. So it's so great that you just asked that question. Okay, so thank you, Dana, for asking. Okay, so Cynthia, we have another question here. So Hannah wants to know if the Amari digestion is what you were suggesting when you were talking about the alkalinity versus the acidic body.
No, we have that naturally. So we start in the mouth, then we go to the pharynx, then we go to the small intestine, large intestine, all the way down to the rectum. And it alternates organically. When we're talking about the stomach, the last thing you want to do when you're having reflux is take these medications that are so easily prescribed that stop the process of digestion. What you need is enzymes to break the food down before it gets down there, so you don't have so much acid. Now, reflux can be, that's a diagnosis. So I'm not saying don't take your meds. What I'm saying is there are things like aloe vera juice and digestive enzyme, and I think it's called, is it called Digestive Plus or something?
Yes. Yeah.
But, yeah. So I think that's a broad spectrum, and that is one of the things that you can add. I believe you're going to do that one. I haven't really looked at it. I haven't taken it myself yet because I'm still going through some of the other broad spectrum food enzymes that I already have in my cabinet, but I take them in between my meals of substance. I don't take them with everything. I take them in between my meals of substance. So, and also food combining, do a little research for yourself, but food combining can also help those products work really well, because if you get a sugar and a starch in there, or a sugar and a protein in the stomach at the same time, and you've got a little bit of dis-ease going on, your body's going to take that sugar first and throw the protein right out, because it's going to hold on to whatever it can get energy from faster. So that might be helpful for you if you're finding indigestion problems.
Well, the other thing that I know also too, from my personal knowledge, is fermented foods are a huge factor in this as well. So, whether it's sauerkraut, kefir, anything that is that is, you know, even apple cider vinegar, you guys, you have to be careful on how much you take of it and how you use it, but it can be extremely beneficial. And, well, shit, there I go with my train of thought again. So that gone. Anyways, any other questions?
So that,
Well, go
that
ahead.
happy mix that we have has a great plethora of pre and probiotics in it. And so if you're looking to, if somebody were asking me, hey, where should I start? I don't know anything about anything. I don't know nothing about nothing. And maybe I'm taking meds, maybe I'm not taking meds. There's no downside to doing a 3-day reboot alongside of that happy mix, because the benefit of those happening in your body is going to be better than not doing it. So there's no downside. It's not like you're going to hit a huge healing crisis. You may, if you're strong enough, your body may go, woo, you got energy. Let me do some cleaning. But that's a good thing if you get it that fast.
Awesome. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this up. We're a little bit over. Such great information. Cynthia, thank you so much for keeping this super simple and, you know, sharing some of the highlights of what we can do in order to feel better, look better, and be better. You guys, these calls happen every Monday night. Come and get educated. Bring your friends in. I got tons of value from this. I learned a lot. I have copious notes. So take all of this information. We'll get the recording up for you tomorrow. And I just want to say thank you so much, you guys. Cynthia, you are a blessing, my friend. And thank you guys so much for being on. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.